Hey everyone, welcome to Kempner Canucks. My name is RevTrev, and I'm so glad you're here. And today I'm doing two videos, and so this is the first one, and this one is going to be the most controversial one. And I just feel like I need to get something off my chest. And I know that this is big controversy in Vancouver. I'm not the only one talking about this, but I am honestly very concerned about Elias Pettersson. And I want to start this just reminding you that I do Canucks content that is passionate, realistic, and honest. And if you like that kind of content, hit the like and subscribe, everyone. But I want to ask you, the fans, the people who put their hard-earned money into this team, who watch faithfully, that support this team, do you think we have a Pettersson problem? Because I think we have a Pettersson problem. Put it in the comments. If you're watching this later, if you're in the live chat, put it in right now. This will be a different kind of video. And tonight I'm doing the post-game conversation with everyone, the live stream. We're going to be breaking down the Canucks win over the Florida Panthers in Florida. But right now I want to dive into this conversation. And so I literally have no problem if someone wants to get paid big money, okay? But if you don't produce, then I have a problem with it. You wanted all the money, but there's no production. Every fan base, it bothers them, right? Nobody wants players to be getting overpaid. If you're going to pay him top dollar like Pettersson got, then we expect him to produce, right? It's just logical. And the Canucks expect him to produce. The fan base should expect him to produce because they're putting out the big money. And I think the Canucks have a big problem on their hands. It's not just a team as a whole, but the concerns over Pettersson, in my opinion, are legitimate. And I've been talking about it for a very long time on my channel. Now, let's talk about the facts for a moment. A lot of people are saying, hey, Trev, calm down, because it's just been 4 games. Give Elias a break. Can I just let you know that's just not true? It's just not true. He was on fire to start the season last year. He was tied in January with the most goals in a month. I believe I think it was tied with Reinhart or someone like that, scoring 14 goals in January. He was on fire. And then the contract negotiations debate comes up, and he says, I want to just wait until after the season to work out a contract. Then there's a rumor that the Canucks management wanted him to sign. They wanted to say, are you going to be with us or not? And if not, they had a deal in place, or they were in talks with shipping him to the Carolina Hurricanes before the deadline. All of a sudden, the conversations ramp up, and he resigns with Vancouver in the biggest contract in team history. And he always said it after that. He's like, listen, I always wanted to stay in Vancouver. I'm happy to be a Canuck. I was just in the midst of contract negotiations. Basically, I'm trying to get the most amount of money as possible. And you can't do, I mean, everyone's trying to do that, right? So good on him. He got the bag. He got bank, whatever they say. But after that All-Star break, let's be honest, Petey wasn't the same. He didn't produce anywhere to the level of that he had in the past. And in the playoffs, he wasn't good enough. In 13 games, he only scored 1 goal for us. He had 5 assists. He wasn't great. He didn't dominate. He didn't look good. And this is when we needed him. When you're getting the money and you're getting the fame. And yeah, he had 89 points, but he just didn't look the same anymore. Now we're in 2024, 2025 season. And in his first 4 games, he literally has 1 assist. That's it. And we all know he's not strong on his skates, and he gets knocked down a lot, and he does that reverse hit thing all the time. But we also know that Pettersson has a lot of skill, and we've seen it with our own eyes. And so we're saying why he looks different than from before. So I'm saying, Houston, we've got a problem. We've got a Pettersson problem. The Canucks management believes in Pettersson. There's no way they would have offered him this big contract if they didn't. They believe that he's going to play at a high level, and they wanted him to stay. But people sit in 2 camps when it comes to this Pettersson problem. The first camp believes that Pettersson will turn it around. He's going to be great in Vancouver. Just have patience. And they're upset with anyone who's critical of his play. And then there's the other camp that are very worried about Pettersson's production and would consider trading him even before his no movement clause kicks in before the end of the season. They're frustrated with the defenders of Petey that want them to wake up to the Pettersson problem. So people want to make all kinds of excuses for Petey. So let's talk about a few of them, shall we? Let's talk about this one. He's injured. He's injured. Now, he's the only one after the playoffs that said that he had a knee injury since January and he had tendonitis. Okay. So if that's it, then you give him a pass. But my question is what's his excuse for this season? See, if he's too injured, you sit him. And the coaching staff never once suggested that he wasn't fit to play because of injury. So can it be it? Can that be it? Can we just say, oh, he was injured? Was he still injured? Because he still looks the same. The second one is that he's like mentally struggling. Okay. He's lost his confidence. And yes, we know that you can lose your confidence, but there has to be a point where you're like, you can overcome and people can and have risen above really hard things to overcome and have regained their confidence. But it's really hard to have sympathy because everyone has it tough. Life is hard. We all know that rarely does life go our way. And it's hard to sympathize because he's playing a sport he loves, making ridiculous amounts of money. Everyone in our country that is making 10 plus million a year is working very hard and has a lot of pressure to deal with and a lot of responsibility. I remember being at the game last year when the fans got the chant going before the game and during the game, let's go Petey. Now, if I was him, I would have been really upset with my play because my fans have to do that to try to help me get going. But who knows if that helped him or hurt his confidence? I'm not sure. We hope as fans that this encouraged him. But Petey has said that he is his own worst critic. So let's just stop blaming the media or the fans who are expecting more because he is expecting way more out of himself. He said that multiple times. Now, there's lots of rumors right now that are floating around that he's not interested in speaking with the media. He's kind of recluse and he's on his phone a lot in the locker room, maybe even suggesting that he's not really connecting with his teammates. I'm not sure about this. These are all rumors. I don't know if they're true, but people want to figure out what's going on with Petey, and they're grasping at straws, wondering what's wrong. And then the other thing is that people say, oh, he had terrible line mates last year. That's why he struggled. And we know his teammates were not good enough, or his line mates weren't good enough. Hoglander and Mikheyev were not good enough. And the Canucks have gone out and picked up DeBrusk and a proven vet and a playoff performer. Okay, Jake's in the town. And then they added more scoring on his right side with Sprong or Garland now. we see. And so this is the excuse they're trying to prove. It's like, so what? Why is it not happening? Is it because they're trying to build chemistry? Well, tonight, he didn't even play with DeBrusk. DeBrusk got moved off that line. And then I read on Twitter today, Canucks _ live tweeted this. He says, I truly believe that Rick Tocchet's system hinders, can you believe this, everyone? Hinders Elias Pettersson. When Bruce was behind the bench, Petey thrived in the offense and he had confidence. He looked like a different player since last January. Well, Kuzmenko played really well under that Bruce Boudreau thing. So is that legit? Is that really like, but how do you, this is my response, and this is my response on Twitter, is like, I'm not sure if you are that good of a player that you can be on fire for half the season under Coach Rick Tocchet and then just fall off the map after the All-Star game and be ineffective in the playoffs. So this excuse, in my opinion, seems to be not legitimate. And then there's the other one, the other excuse. There's just too much pressure to play in Canada. Maybe that's true. But don't sign a contract in a Canadian market then. You think Vancouver is bad? Go play for the Flames or the Oilers or the Jets or whatever Canadian team. You think those teams are bad? Imagine his play in Toronto or Montreal in those markets. They would be all over him because Canadians care about hockey and they will support you, though. If you play well, you will be praised. But listen, when you don't, you hear about it. And people are concerned, and many people want to play in Canada and can't. So maybe that's another excuse. I don't know. There's a lot of excuses, right? What about this last one? You know, RevTrev, it's the whole team that's struggling this season, not just EP40. Get off his back and support him. And you know what? This is very true. Miller or Hughes haven't really played great this year. I mean, they played great tonight, but they haven't played great this year. I agree that this team is building chemistry with one another, but we cannot say that Petey is getting paid we cannot say Petey is getting paid and that's okay. It's too much pressure, but he's getting paid to be part of the solution. He's not getting paid to be part of the problem. And even though Hughes and Miller haven't played to the top of their potential yet this year, they still have been much better than Pettersson. And I think we can easily say that. Now, if you've been following me since last year, I have declared many times I'm done protecting Petey. I'm done. I'm done. He threatened not to re-sign with Vancouver if we didn't build a contender. The big hornet's nest that happened, right? And then Vancouver built a contender and even traded assets to get Lindholm and Zadorov. He wanted to get paid big money with long-term. Vancouver signs him to an 8-year deal with $11.6 million AAV. That's huge cash. Listen, he's a man now. He's no longer a boy or a prospect with potential. The problem is he's not even our best player, everyone. Even though he's getting paid the highest amount of money, he's not our best player. Our best player is Quinn Hughes. Pettersson is not even our best forward. That's JT Miller. And it's not close. If you just examine their last 3 seasons, JT Miller has been way better of a player, not only points-wise, but as well on the ice, everything he brings to this team. And maybe even last year, some can argue that Brock Besser had a better season than Petey did because it's not just all about points, but it's about what you do in a game to help your team win. So he's not even been our best player. He does not drive the line, and we have to surround him with better talent. You know, I know that's legitimate. We need to do that. But last year, there were a few games when he played with Besser, and it still didn't even help him. And now he's got better wingers, and he still looks the same. So let's ask the question, What are the reasonable PD expectations? In my opinion, a top 5 paid player must be top 10 in production every year. I'm sorry, but you shouldn't have got paid that much. And maybe the Canucks just overpaid him. Maybe they made a mistake. Maybe they should have never, but he was still making whatever it was, 8.7 or whatever he was making before. I can't remember now. I just expect that he plays, even though he's being paid top 5, he needs to have top 10 production every single year. And Pettersson has not played well. And I'm concerned that this is the Pettersson we're going to see. Now, I hope I'm wrong. I want you to know and hear me clearly. If you're still watching this video, I hope I'm wrong. But what are some of the solutions to the Pettersson problem? Number one, best case scenario, we all want Pettersson to turn it around, to become that dominant player in the NHL like we've seen him do, to earn that contract he signed, to win a Stanley Cup in Vancouver. That's the best case scenario. The next one is trade him now while he still has value. And I don't think that Alvin and Rutherford would trade Pettersson. But it sounds like they were close to moving him already last year, the deadline. Maybe if his up and down play continues, it's in the best interest of the Canucks to move PD before it's too late. And that might be a different video for a different day. Now, the other one is hold on to him and just hope that he turns it around. The problem with that is we don't even know when that will change, this year or next year or a few years down the road, or will it be never? Have we seen the best of Pettersson? Some of you are saying, listen, you got to let him play it out for another 10 games, 20 games. What happens if we get halfway through the season and he's still like this? Like, this is legitimate. And so I've got over 61 comments here to talk about this tonight. And I know, like, this is a bad night to make this video. We should be on a high because we won in overtime and we beat the Stanley Cup champs. And we're going to be talking about that at my live stream. I always do post-game shows after every game. So please hit the like and subscribe to be able to be part of those conversations, see those videos. But I don't know. So I'm just going to dive into some of the comments. I'm not going to talk about tonight's game. I think we need to just sit here and go, you know what? We need to legitimately say we've got a problem. I think it's okay. There's nothing wrong with saying that we have a Pettersson problem. There's nothing wrong with being critical of his play because he's critical of his own play. Now, I've talked a lot tonight. Dingbat Dinger says, get him a sports psychologist. Figure out his issues like McKinnon did. I mean, that's a good point, right? He needs to change his game a bit, Chemo says. By the way, hey, good to see you, Chemo. Teams have figured him out. It seems like that, right? So how you doing? Says, I thought he played okay. One post, some hits. Sometimes 3-on-3 takes it to there and end, but loses the puck. Did recover. Tonight it is what it is, right? Justin says maybe he'll be a 25-goal, 80-point player in the Selke finals every year. Nothing wrong with that. I mean, I think there's something wrong with that for 11.6, but you're right. That's still helpful, right? Michael says, Daniel, that's why I'm glad the Canucks made the right decision making Hughes the captain instead of Petey. That is a great point. That is a really great point. Okay. So Major, good. Hey, thanks for the gift, for gifting someone a membership. I really appreciate that. Supporting the channel. You're awesome, man. You're awesome. Give some hype to him. Actually, people are already. Here's what Daniel says. If you're an elite player, you'll perform. A large portion of his career, he played with Gino. Oh, who are you talking about? Are you talking about Bure? Talk about offensively challenged teammates, right? Yeah, right. Leah, I have said, I've been talking, I'm going to do another video for another day. I would do PD for Bedard in a heartbeat, but Chicago wouldn't do that, guys. Chicago, there's no way Chicago does that, but I would do that. I would do that. Yeah, Daniel says Bure played with Gino, right? There's like, there was no excuse with Bure. Got my Miller jersey, Pettersson in the garbage. I mean, that's what's happening, right? What else does people say here? Yeah, and this is what I brought up. PD isn't even our current number 3 forward. This can change though. Right now, it's Miller, Besser, Garland that are all better than him for sure. And Jay says he's too inconsistent for what he's paid for, right? Thanks. He was making 7.3 before this new contract. Okay. I'm gonna make a video on this. That's one of the names I'm gonna bring up. I'm gonna probably compare them. We'll see. Maybe it's not a good trade. I don't know. PD is on pace for less points since his rookie 66-point season. Oh my goodness. I give him, this is Blazers fan 22, to the trade deadline. Rutherford probably has a red line for him. McDavid didn't have a good start, but Pettersson does create penalties. That's true. That's true. And that's fine. I have no problem. If you want to give him to the trade deadline, that's totally fine. I just don't think this fan base is going to be okay with that, to be honest with you. I don't think they're going to be. Oh, man. Viper says, I traded PD for McAvoy right before Bergeron retired. Wow. In the Fantasy Hockey League? Is that what it is? Fantasy Hockey? Major says, give PD one season, and if he produces, then great. If not, give him a new start somewhere else. He can't. He's on a no movement clause after this season. This team is not hinging on any one single player. It's a group thing. It's about the crest. It should be, but we need him. We paid him, and we want to be a part of the team to be like Miller, to be like Hughes, to be difference makers. If not, you should have shipped them out already. David W. says PD seems to be an overpaid version of what Ilya Mikheyev was for the Canucks. Wow. That is a strong statement. Stop scaring me. Oh, and Viper is like franchise hockey manager. Okay. Yeah, what would his value be by the trade deadline if this continues? This is not going to be high. I think this is why I need to. If you're out on Pettersson, you need to trade him now, but you're not going to. They're not going to trade him. I know they're not going to trade him, so I just need to relax on that. And I'm not saying they should trade him, but if he does not turn it around, everyone. So Daniel says this will get me a ton of hate from Pettersson Spurs, but I think we need to trade him. Too many excuses, way too many no-shows. Amon after 4 games has more points than him. Wow. That's a good point. Sell while the market is high. Not sure if no trade is kicked in yet, but no way I want to risk being that the normal for the next 18 years. That's where we're at, everyone. So tonight that's where we're gonna end the stream tonight, the video tonight. I'm gonna be back in an hour and a half to do the post-game show, and it's gonna be way more positive. Okay. It's going to be way more positive. So everyone, join me back here. If you haven't hit the like and subscribe, please do. I really appreciate you being here. And so we're going to be going live soon. So hope you have a good night. See you in an hour and a half. And of course, always, I'm going to cheer this team on. I want Pettersson to turn it around. But man, I sold the Pettersson jersey because first of all, I needed the cash. Second of all, I didn't know he was going to re-sign for us. But it just feels like that was a good move. I did not think the way he was talking, he was going to resign with us. And boy, oh boy, it's been a bit of a disaster so far. That looks like a bad contract so far. so far. I hope we're wrong. I hope he turns it around. I hope he becomes everything that we expect and he expects. And I hope he helps bring Vancouver to their first ever Stanley Cup. Thanks for watching. Go Canucks, go.